Hey dreamers, this is Anisha Jennings, a fellow immigrant and an entrepreneur. From being an engineer in India to building my tech business in the US, I've lived the journey you're on. Welcome to Your American Dream podcast, where we turn immigrant challenges into superpowers. Are you feeling out of place, struggling with a job hunt, or simply missing home? I've been there, and I'm here to guide you through it. In each episode, we'll dive into real stories, practical advice, and mindset that will help you write your unique success story. From navigating cultural differences to building a purposeful life, I've got you covered. So if you're ready to turn your immigrant experience into your greatest strength, let's dive in. Your American dream starts now. Welcome to Your American Dream. I'm Anisha Jennings, and today I'm honored to welcome Siri Swahari, a transformational executive, board leader, and trusted thought partner known for driving operational excellence, inclusive leadership, and digital transformation. Siri serves as Vice President of U.S. Global Technology Operations at CGI, where she leads large distributed teams delivering secure, scalable services across critical industries. She is also the founder of the Women Executives Circle, a national peer powered community for senior women leaders, and serves on multiple boards advancing innovation, equity, and nonprofit impact. Whoa. Welcome, Siri. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Anisha.
Yes. So honored to have you here. So let's start with your journey. Tell us a little bit about your early life and how it led to all these accomplishments. Now, what did your early life look like, and your career, and now where you are?
So, I think my early life is nothing unique or different compared to thousands of immigrants that come to America, our land of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I think because you also share the same Indian background, I think you are aware that, in India, if you want to grow, at least in our generation, there were only two channels, either be a doctor or be an engineer.
Yes.
My parents wanted to be a doctor, wanted me to be a doctor, but I am very queasy when it comes to blood and all that stuff. So that was the only chosen path for me. Like, we had limited options, right? Like,
Right.
I did not have the luxury to pursue passion, like I can say, encourage my kids to follow. But no
Yes.
complaints. I realized I love the field of engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Completed my master's in computer applications there, got married, moved here, and like any immigrant moving here, went through the visa process. While waiting for the visa process, instead of sitting idle, I worked as a volunteer building a website for a non-profit organization. And that's something that helped me keep my skills up to date, making sure I'm not just getting bored sitting at home.
Yes.
And eventually, once everything came through, started my career as a database administrator, a DBA. And eventually the path took from there. Used to work in Colorado. Then more than 2 decades ago, came to visit NC, fell in love with this place. I think we were too young and naive at that time. I mean, we immediately bought a home the very next day without knowing a single soul. Sometimes I wonder, I
Oh,
probably overanalyze now, come up with the pros and cons chart and all that
yeah.
if it is now. But at that time, we are quick to jump in. And I think one of the best decisions we ever made while settling here was doing a tech related job, development, database administration, moved into management. Then I was asked to relocate to New York. It didn't fit well with my personal plans at that time. So, I chose
Mm-hmm.
to quit management, go back to technical roles, and then life took on from there. The more you grow, the more you learn, the more you try to apply for new opportunities, explore and expand your horizons. Obviously, the growth ultimately follows.
Yes.
And I think that's where I ended up being I am very humbled and honored to be in this role. I understand it's not easy to get there. But one of the reasons I chose to be here, speak with you,
Yes.
is I wanted to make sure everyone understands. I mean, I heard some comments from my colleagues, my peers and friends that, oh, I never thought about going into management. I never thought that path is open for us. And I realized that representation matters. Sometimes you
Yes.
might be thinking, you're doing your own thing and, being humble, not talking about it. But the recent conversations, it made me realize sometimes you need to speak up, even
Yes.
even if you can inspire that one individual to aim higher. I think it is worth it.
Yes. For sure.
As part of this growth, times, I think this is the universal truth. Sometimes it is lonely at the top. Very common for a woman to find themselves the only women leader at the table, which is quite common. But at the same time, you may be the only resource at the table in your organization, but you have multiple organizations with women experiencing that. So it all stemmed from a discussion or a ad hoc dinner when few of us met, and then we tried to. I'm also a member of Chief. It's a private women network organization for C-suite leaders and executives, and we requested them to have a get together for few of us to meet. That didn't pan out because the member count in Raleigh area was not enough. And
Mm-hmm.
if there is one thing that served me is to not wait for anyone else to solve the problem, even if I
Yes.
am the even if I own it, even if it is not my responsibility, if there is a solution for a problem, I always jump in. I always take care of it. And that's what I did. I started a monthly meetups for local women, which grew organically. We also have a patented framework that we follow when we meet.
Very nice.
It's called Women Executive Circle. UEC is the acronym, but the way we pronounce it is VC. As in, we see each other, we acknowledge
Yeah.
each other. Like everyone is visible. That's the intent. Like I said, I wanted to make sure everyone gets visibility. Everyone gets an opportunity to
Right.
speak. Everyone gets to share their opinion. And I wanted to build a safe, inclusive environment for all. I never had any intent to go national and never had any intent to, expand it. In fact, folks have been requesting me since 2023 to expand it to other states. I have been seriously putting it off. Actually, it's 2024 because one, I had zero bandwidth with everything going
Yes.
on. Second, I felt like, how can we expand? Because, the beauty of why this was growing is it's all local connections, local
Local. Right.
in-person
Right.
connections. And no matter how much I love seeing you on video here, nothing
Yes.
beats an
It's a
in-person
different.
interaction. I would love to
Yes.
have this chat with you over a cup of coffee sometime rather
Absolutely.
than, right? So that's the
Yes.
power of in-person connection. And that's also one of the reasons I've been putting it off. But every time someone from other state, even they visited NC and participated in one of our meetups, they really loved how the ecosystem is, the community is,
Right.
how we have, it's practically we all have our very own board of advisors, to put it
Wow.
mildly. So in the end, something happened in August, which made me realize, the perfect time never comes. I need to
Exactly.
just make time and go ahead and build it.
Yes.
There were only 3 states initially requesting for it. So I thought, I'll expand to 3 states. But once I
Yeah.
started, the momentum, what it made me realize is the world is craving this. The need for
Mm.
this kind of safe communities is so much that I had 15 states reach out volunteering
Wow.
to run
Wow.
it. So this is where I put on my corporate hat. I don't want to scale too fast without a good plan. So we went through the whole process, incorporating, building a board. We identified all the leaders, came up with rubric, provided training, and we are slowly scaling it one state by one. We also have a lot of interest internationally, London, Sweden,
Wow.
Australia, and Canada. They all wanted to
Lovely.
be part of this ecosystem. But like I said, I want us to grow, establish ourselves strongly nationally first before we go international. But that's the story. And the only reason VC is successful is because of altruistic leaders who are stepping up.
Yeah.
It's not my show, it is our show where we have incredible talent, incredible leaders who make up our board, who make up our leadership team,
Yes.
who run such busy lives but still had the grace and the altruistic nature to give back to the world, who raised
Yes.
their hands to run this. And that's how, like I said, it's a peer power community run by senior women for senior women. So that's how
Yeah.
VC ended up. And I already shared the CGI story. And of course, I love getting some mentoring. So I wanted to give back to the world. So I mentor a lot of not only students, but also early career professionals, both internal and external to CGI. And I think pretty much sums up my professional side of the world.
Lovely. Lovely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And it seems like an amazing journey, and you're definitely, making an impact and growing and learning, like you said.
Yeah,
So
there you see.
when you came here and you were, waiting for your visa, um, there's a process there, and there's emotions that go through. There's anxiety. Not, I mean, yeah, but there's this waiting period, right? And there's a lot of women who are in that phase, who are in that waiting period. And like you said, I didn't want to sit home and not do anything. So I started building a website, and then I took my career from there. What would be your advice for women in that situation today? Like, from your experience so far, what would be your advice?
Yeah, my advice is do what speaks to you. Don't wait for something to work in your favor. Don't wait for visa or something else to fall in your lap for you to prove yourself productive. And I understand it's really tough for especially people like me who worked there in India and then came
Yes.
here and there was nothing to do because
Nothing.
even to get a driving license, we had those implications, how long you can have it, the date and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if we just compromise, saying, "Hey, we will do this when the time comes, when the next opportunity comes," then you are giving control of your future, of your happiness to an external entity or a resource. I personally, what made me feel happy or satisfied, feel contented is I was doing something where I was learning. I was a developer before coming here. I learned website development, which is totally new compared to what the
Yeah.
database development is. So it was also a growth opportunity. It was good to challenge myself, learn something. And I was
Yeah.
working for a nonprofit website. So, it gives you the satisfaction that you gave back to the world. Sometimes I firmly believe no matter what you buy, the materialistic goods, the satisfaction you get from that does pales in comparison to what you get when you do something good in the world, when you give back to the
Mhm.
communities. And you need to experience that to realize that. It's easy to say, but I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure if people went and implemented that, they realize it firsthand, the beauty of that. I was
Right.
also challenged, I think many of us immigrants that's coming from whichever part of the world, sometimes the language barrier.
Yeah.
I studied in a Catholic high school with English medium, but
Yeah.
the nuances, the sayings, the accent that comes with
Yeah.
it, the flow, the common words that you use
Yeah.
is a little bit different. And anything you become better with practice. But when you're not working, one thing I used to do it at one point of time, there used to be a lot of marketing calls. These days we have
Mhm.
scam blockers, we have
Yeah.
our phones working for us, which stop those calls from coming through. But this
Yes.
is before cell phones. I mean, I think I just dated myself by saying this, but before cell phones were really, active or became part of our life, we used to have this
Mhm.
uh, mm, ha- telephone, which was famous for receiving lot of junk calls.
Yeah.
And so, like, it was my husband who suggested, instead of just saying, "Hey, take us off the list," and putting the phone down, why don't you engage in that conversation? You don't have to buy anything,
Mm.
but if they are there to waste your time trying to sell something, why don't you make the best of it by practicing your skills, speaking, handling, especially, customer service or sales representatives
Right.
who are very stubborn trying to nail a sale.
Mhm.
It was fun
Yeah.
turning the
I like
tables.
that.
Like I said,
I like
when
that
life gives
approach.
you lemons, make lemonade. So
Yes. Yes.
that really helped because again, I love watching shows, and I am also like any other normal human being. I do get dragged into that abyss of watching nonstop just because I didn't have anything else to do. But
Yes.
the moment I make the conscious decision that I want to upskill myself, I wanted to do a certification, and yep, that's one more thing. Especially this is geared towards immigrant women, and coming from India, the schooling was awesome. But what I realized is for the day to day working environment,
Mhm.
the knowledge that's needed, you would gain 99% more doing a certification exams, learning for it, rather than depending on a postgraduate degree. I thought,
Right.
I'm a postgraduate. I can accomplish, do anything, do everything and what's needed, and I can pick up easily. I'm telling you, my day to day life when I started my career here as a DBA, it was so easy because everything I studied for the certification exam is what I was actually doing. So that's one more advice I give folks who are looking for such. Upskill yourself.
Right,
Continuous
right,
learning is the only key to success.
right,
And
right.
it doesn't stop. It never stops.
It
Two
doesn't
decades
stop.
later,
Yes.
I'm still studying. I'm preparing for another certification as we speak. That makes it fun and challenging, but also, helps you stay up to date.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that advice. So, what experiences over your career most shaped your people centered approach to leadership?
It necessarily need not be just in my career. I think I was always driven by this principle like treat others like how you would like to be treated yourself.
Right.
And it's as simple as that. I expect to be treated with respect. I
Yes.
always ensure that each and every interaction that I have, whether it's someone that I am reporting to or someone who reports to me, they all feel like we are in a safe space where the mutual respect is there. I think
Right.
creating that safe, inclusive environment helped cement that, people culture.
Yes.
That's also one of the my strongest motives to go forward.
Nice. Nice. So, you talk about translating complexity into clarity. How do you do that when the stakes are high and systems are interconnected?
That is a skill that
Yes.
you develop over time, especially in my world when we were dealing with production systems. I mean, you reminded me of a good example. Stakes are high. We were on a SEV1 incident. Every minute of outage was resulting in SLA penalty dollars that gets added. The more it takes time to resolve the situation, which
Yeah.
means the tensions on the call are high. Everyone wants to solve the problem. Nobody wants to take the financial burden, and the intent of everyone is towards the same goal. But sometimes the chaos makes people forget that all of us are in the same boat working towards the same goal. And
Yes.
every now and then in high stakes environment, you see that when tensions flare up, people go off track.
Hmm.
And sometimes the complexity intrigues them. There was this example, like I think it's more than a decade ago. We were trying to solve a database problem. Something was off, down, or something. The performance, yeah, the performance was so bad that the retrieval on the application side, when the user is clicking something, it is taking eons for it to show up.
Wow.
And we had the application team, database team, the client team, and the whole coordination team all on the same call trying to solve it. And
Right.
the DBAs were saying, hey, this is a application problem. There was something missing. And the application team was quite unhappy because, for them, they didn't see anything. Like, when we rebooted, everything is working fine. They were like,
Right.
it was working fine. It is a database issue. Like, when people start pointing fingers, sometimes they lose track of the solution. They focus so much on how to defend themselves that sometimes the intent and goal gets lost.
Yeah.
So during that time, my example, like, I was brought into, I usually get pulled in whenever there is a fire. That came my way. And when I went and saw it, what I saw was it is an application problem, but I can put myself in application team's shoes. It was working fine when they rebooted. So they were like very, very
You can.
100% confident that it is a database issue. But what they didn't realize is bad code. It fills up memory. It eventually, I just used a simple example of carburetor. I don't know if you know the car
Mm.
carburetor,
Yes.
the one that
Yes.
collects the soot and does. It
Yes.
works fine. Once you clean the carburetor, the car is at 100% efficiency, just like the database
Right.
would be at 100% efficiency. But, if the system is faulty and if the soot is forming, it eventually clogs up the carburetor and the performance degrades. It's as simple as that. And all I had to do was explain what was happening in layman terms using a
Yes.
car carburetor analogy, and then the light bulb movement happened. And that's what I can do. I know how to maintain my cool when it is chaotic situation, and I know how to explain things in a way that makes sense. I also know how to walk into a situation where everyone is in the defensive mode. But having said that, those things don't happen overnight. Those
Right.
qualities, I mean, how to handle that, and without you burning out, without you
Yes.
absorbing that negative energy, that
Yes.
only happens with practice, with
Mm.
intention, reminding yourself because I am human too. And so is every other human being in the world.
Yes.
Remembering that, and practicing it with intention is the key. I hope that
Right.
answers what you are looking for.
Yes, yes, for sure. Thank you for telling us so much in detail because it's true. It does take practice and, like you said, intention. So, your work sits at the intersection of responsible AI, automation, and operations. So, what should leaders understand about using AI responsibly?
First and foremost, don't go and try to enforce or apply AI just because everyone is doing that.
Right,
Don't embrace any AI model or technology just because you want to catch up with rest of the world. We need to exercise a discernment on where and how we want to apply AI. We also want to ensure, just like security in the olden days, the responsible AI, the guardrails are baked in from day one. And the best way to apply AI in your environment is to first check your processes, check where you have friction. That is the first
right.
place you want to go and try to see what you can do to apply. Don't embrace a technology just because the world is doing that. Second
Mm-hmm.
thing, have to be really, really confident that the process on top of which you are trying to apply is a good process. It's not a broken process. The chain of command, the chain of responsibility, the whole end to end picture is something that is documented and running accurately. Only then
Right.
applying AI to improve the efficiencies would reap benefits.
Mm-hmm.
There was this example I saw somewhere else recently, like, someone used a soap and put a soap dispenser pump on top of the soap. Just imagine that. Like, yeah, it is
Yeah,
soap, but it is a solid bar of soap. And, if you
right.
imagine the pump as AI, you are
Yeah.
not gaining anything. In fact, you're not even able to use AI, use the soap properly. So it is as simple as that. As long as you know where the frictions are and what the expected outcomes you are looking for,
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to apply a responsible AI and have good ROI, which is really important for anything that you
Right.
are investing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, how can organizations balance innovation with trust, ethics, and human impact?
It has to be driven both bottom up, top down. A
Mm-hmm.
CEO
Mm-hmm.
can't go and say, hey, we want to do this, we want to build a trusting environment and not showcase it in practice. You have to lead by example there. And
Right. Right.
when bottom up, when folks are following that, recognizing them, applauding them, encouraging them, where they can inspire their peers. That is how it is built. There is no magic solution. Irrespective of where or how the world is growing, in the end, everything comes down to people. How well you treat them, what kind of environment you provide for them, how we are encouraging the growth. That culture, that mindset is going to influence the trust that folks have in their company, have in their peers, in their teams, and vice versa. And when you have a dedicated resource who is invested, who loves working there, then obviously the results will be much, much better than folks working in a friction environment.
Yes. Yes, for sure. So, you serve on multiple boards and advisory roles. How does board leadership differ from executive leadership?
So yeah, that is totally different. And what you are not hands-on, you are
Mm-hmm.
influencing the direction of the organization. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when, executives who are so used to, going into the quicksand and trying to solve a problem, that is also a learning experience too. It is like that saying, fish, if someone is hungry, if you give them a fish, they are hunger is satiated for a day, but if you teach them how to
Yes.
fish, they
Yes.
they are set for life. Something
Yes.
similar to that analogy, making sure you are following what the guidelines are, making sure you are complying with the duty of care, duty of obedience, and ensuring you are looking at the overall vision of the board, not the
Mm-hmm.
day-to-day responsibilities. That would influence how a board leader responsibilities differ from a senior executive.
Right. Right. Oh, very well said. So you also emphasize on emotional intelligence in leadership. I think it's important no matter what. But why is EQ non-negotiable at senior levels?
Because you are not just influencing. See, the more you grow, the larger domain of folks who would be impacted.
Yeah.
If a junior engineer does not exhibit EQ, the loss would be minimal. But if a senior executive does not exhibit a EQ and makes decisions without taking into account the culture, the people, the viability of the solution, then it will be a larger impact, obviously. I know how the company's returns are, how the company culture would be, how the vibe of the group is, and impact
Right.
would be tenfold. And when I say EQ, it's not, I wanted to make sure I enforce this. Sometimes it's not always the spoken word. Reading the room,
Yes.
the situational intelligence is really crucial. Reading the unspoken words, understanding
Yeah.
the unspoken words is crucial for folks to determine which way their company or organization is moving.
Yeah. So, what would be your suggestion or advice on how you can gain that, or, how do you develop that skill?
It's as simple as what I said before. Put yourself in their shoes. What are you expecting? If you are a junior engineer who's afraid to speak up
Mm-hmm.
and not having a um, environment, a safe environment where you can't speak up, then you are hurting the progress of where that organization can lead. That is one thing. Also, collecting feedback and also reflecting inward
Right.
how things are going, making conscious effort to understand the temperature of and the culture of the folks that you are leading is how you grow. And there is no, I can't say, go and take this certification, go and do this course. Yeah, I know there are out there, but see, as long as the intent of the person is not there to be responsible and take care of those things, all those things don't matter. And
For sure.
again, I can't reiterate this strong enough. I know I repeated this already, but I strongly endorse it. Put yourself in other shoes. How would you feel?
Yes.
What would be the best scenario? And try to lead with that.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. What does the American dream look like today after, so many years and your experience, and now you've founded your VC and now you're growing? What does it look for you today as a global executive and a community builder?
See, the thing with the dreams is it's constantly changing, evolving as you grow.
Yes.
I dream, I would say now I'm at a stage where my dreams are for my children. I keep telling them,
Right.
you are born in a situation, in a country where we could say, hey, follow your passion. Don't worry
Yes.
about becoming an engineer or a doctor. Do what makes you happy. And the one promise that I always asked my kids, or I've been telling them ever since they were old enough to understand is, I don't care what you end up being. Does not matter
Hmm.
which profession you end up being choosing. I wanted to make sure they can contribute to the community in a meaningful way. That's my only dream right now. And I'm hoping I'm leading that by example. I strongly believe that we should practice what we preach. So,
Yes.
yeah, there you go. My American dream is to be able to support our communities, to support
Beautiful.
folks who need that guidance, who need that help, because, that's what makes me sleep better. The world
Yes.
was kind. I got opportunities. I had to work hard. I understand.
Yes.
I had to fight for it. I had to work hard. But having said that, I still had an opportunity to work hard. I still had an
Right.
opportunity to, try to reach what I was aiming for. And that is a
Right.
boon in itself. And that is one of the American dreams. They don't call this place land of opportunity for no reason.
Yes,
And
exactly.
one good thing with the way the world is evolving is it's not like how it was when we started our careers. Now I see plentiful opportunities all over the world. You can be whatever you want. Does not matter
Yes.
which state or which country you are part of.
Yeah,
The only thing between you and achieving your dream is your mindset. So as
for
long as
sure.
you train, that will get there.
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. So, what advice would you give women aspiring to senior leadership without losing themselves in the process?
I would say continuous learning, grit, ownership mindset.
Yes,
I know I feel like it is again a repeat of what I stated earlier in the call, but in the end, that is what it is. If you see
yeah,
a problem, you don't have to be a senior manager. If you can solve the problem, or if you can sort of provide a solution or suggestion for that problem, speak up. Be confident to speak up. It's okay to whatever you say may not be apt. Like, I keep telling my teams, you guys, when you're coming with a problem, always challenge them. If you were in a position to solve that problem, come up with a suggestion. How would you solve? And I always encourage them. It's just not women in this case. It's like, every team member,
Anyone.
especially anyone who's facing the friction, they would know
Right.
the pain point better than a senior executive. And sometimes, the suggestions or the solutions they provide may not be right because they don't know, the nuances, the end-to-end solution. There might be some dependencies, some legal rules that may allow it to happen. But trying to think beyond the complaint, beyond the problem, is what is going to make whether a man or a woman or a binary person, it does not matter. That is what's going to help you grow from where you are to a senior role, because that's what senior executives live for. That's what actually the world needs.
Yes.
We don't want people complaining. Not that I'm saying don't come and complain. We
Yes.
want people who would be ready to think
With a
from a
solution.
solution
Yes.
lens. And that is what would help you grow in your careers. And continuous learning, can't stress the importance of it. I've seen people, hey, I'm settled in, I'm good. Like, no. Especially in this world of AI, everything is growing so rapidly. You don't know
Right.
when the next big change comes, when the next boom AI model releases, new technologies comes your way.
Yes.
In the past, it used to take few years for change to catch up. These
Yeah.
days, it is like overnight sometimes. So
For
be
sure.
open-minded
Yes.
to learning, and that will definitely help.
Yes. Yes, for sure. So, for people in the tech space, what would be your advice on certifications? Like, where should they start? What are some good certifications to start on?
So in tech space is very broad, right? It depends
Yes.
in which domain category that member is.
Mm-hmm.
But irrespective of which, AI was a great unifier
Yes.
that brought all the domains, all categories all together. And if you were following the news, there are so many things that are going to be unusable, the coding, the syntaxing, nobody needs to learn
Yes.
all that. But
Yes.
the critical thinking, the creative thinking, thinking outside the box, discernment, those key items are what I see as trending for future.
Right.
Nevertheless, if you're a PM or a BA or a developer or an engineer, there are tons of courses out there, especially which
Mm-hmm.
would help you improve your skills and certifications in the where your technology is integrated with AI.
Right.
And on top of it, these days, every time I log in, I see Harvard offering free courses, Stanford offering free courses, Google offering free courses. So I encourage people to go and get those certificates, because you never know what you learn until you go and attempt it.
For sure.
Those skills are going to help you. Even for a
Yes.
junior engineer, like in a junior resource, like even my team, we have help desk professionals who do a stellar job. And, for them, someone was asking, how does AI help us? And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
prompt engineering. You never know what results you can get if you get better at prompt engineering. And it might feel like, hey, this is not useful for us, until you really learn
Really.
and implement it. And that's when you have the aha moment. So
Yes.
across the tech domain, try to find certifications that overlap your AI skills with what your area of practice is, and try to
Yes.
get those certifications would be my strongest advice.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here today, sharing your expertise, your advice, and your experience. I had a great time
I'm
chatting
glad to
with you
be here.
today.
Thank you, Anisha.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the invite, and looking forward to working with you. Take
Yes,
care.
for sure. As we close this powerful conversation with Siri, one thing stands out. Sustainable success comes from clarity, connection, and courageous leadership. Siri reminds us that when leaders invest in people as much as performance, organizations evolve from reactive to resilient. If you're ready to bring that same clarity and confidence to your business, I'd love to help build a platform that reflects your leadership and vision. This is Anisha Jennings reminding you that your American dream grows when you lead with purpose and clarity. Until next time. Thank you for tuning into Your American Dream. I hope this episode left you feeling inspired and ready to take on the world. Remember when I first landed in the US, lost and overwhelmed? Well, look at us now. We're building our dreams together. Your story matters, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. If you enjoyed our chat today, please spread the love, rate, review, and share. Let's grow this amazing community of dreamers together. Want more? Catch my daily doses of inspiration on my Instagram at Jennings Tech Corner. Also check out the show notes for more ways to connect. Remember, your accent is the voice of your ambition. Your background is your superpower. Let's dream big and achieve bigger. Until then, this is Anisha cheering you every step of the way.